Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to Bear Care Corner in the cozy break room. We wanted to switch it up today because
it's extremely cold.
So cold.
Yes.
We've worked outside most of the morning, and we're taking a break.
Yes,
we're taking a break here with
Warming
you.
up. Yes.
In our break room. So let us know where you are tuning in from. If you're cozy on your couch, let us know.
Yeah, what's it like outside?
Yeah, because it's not just Southern Ontario. If you really look at the polar vortex, it's affecting a lot of our friends in Canada and the US. So let us know what the weather's like where you are. In this episode, we're going to be speaking a lot about the weather. Did I do it right?
Yes. Whoa! I'm Nicole.
Senior animal caregiver. Andrea, the animal care manager, and we're here to chat to you about resident care, what we're doing for today and the next few days during the polar vortex, keeping the residents safe. That's our number one priority. It's a lot we've already put into place, and today is the coldest day and coldest night.
Yes.
Overnight is minus 23 degrees Celsius, which feels like probably closer to minus 30.
That's horrifying.
Super scary.
Yeah.
We're lucky with the new amenities that we have here at the new property that we're able to get most residents inside.
Yeah. What a huge difference. Yeah.
And they're all right here. So when we do our rounds, we do our checks throughout the day, we're able to see everybody within a few minutes versus, driving the quad across the property.
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of funny that we moved to such a larger property, but the first couple of years, like, everything is so central right now.
Condensed.
Yeah, it definitely won't be like this in a couple of years, but I'm enjoying it right now.
That's true. Yes. So,
yeah,
and especially in the next few days, even more condensed because we brought BJ and Escalade in. The pigs kind of huddled in their huts. April's herds mostly in the stall barn versus the arena. The arena is a covered space, but it's not insulated.
Yeah, it's a really big open space, so not the warmest right now.
If you have any questions during the program, let us know in the comments, and we will try to answer them live if we see them. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know if we're alive, because I don't see anybody yet.
Hopefully we're here.
Let us know if you can hear us.
Yeah.
Give us a little wave. We're going to do a quick Obama update to start with. We want to keep everybody updated on his progress, and then we're going to talk a bit about the weather. Hello, John. -2 Fahrenheit in Ottawa, Illinois. Just donated to your cold. Oh, that's so kind. Thank you so much. So we do have a fundraiser right now to get us over the hump during these kind of cold snaps. During the winter, there's already the expenses, but the last few days, the amount of straw and resources, shavings,
pellets, all the bedding,
has really increased. Even the amount of bales that we just put in the cow barn to help keep it warm. Normally, when we do a change out, it's a few bales, and we've just added 10. And that really adds up quickly because each bale's like $8 or something. I don't know. There's math. But even hydro or electricity.
With all the heaters, the icers in the water.
Everything is running full blast right now. So thank you for your donations. Thank you for mentioning that. We're going to do an Obama update to start with. What's happening here?
Oh, little guy. This is Obama yesterday after his bandage change. If you've been following along, I think we've been posting most of those photos on our Instagram stories. So right now we're doing Obama's bandage change every 2 days. And in case you missed it, last week Obama had a fall and he actually broke that horn off. Thankfully, caregiver Chris and Andrea, quick to the rescue, got the bleeding under control. Things are going pretty well. Honestly, I'm quite shocked at how it's healing, like all things considered. When we last week
first saw it, like very first was like, oh my gosh, just get the blood stopped. And then it was like the next day, I think we did the bandage change. And even though our vet was saying, it's going to heal like this, it's going to take this amount of time. He's seen this happen before.
I was scared.
Us looking at it, we were like,
wow, are we sure?
It's so raw. It's so like, we weren't really sure what it's going to look like. But now, it's looking,
it's really drying. It's really drying out. The amount of blood is stopping. Like every bandage change, honestly, every 2 days that we change it out, it looks better and better. And then every bandage change, he gets a cute little something just to help brighten his spirits and our spirits too,
and his friends.
And I thought like a cute little watermelon would be nice during this polar vortex, just to kind of remind us that summer is coming.
I think spring is in 58 days or so.
How do you know that?
Somebody commented yesterday on Barnside Chat.
Amazing.
I am not a numbers person, even though that's a pretty small number. 59 yesterday.
Incredible. That's basically tomorrow.
Just around the corner. We just got to get over this polar vortex and hopefully not many more, but very different than last winter. Winters can really vary. We had a lot of snow last winter, but the cold wasn't too bad. Actually, not even that much snow.
No,
it was like raining at some points.
Yeah, I feel like last year we maybe had like 1 or 2 bouts of like quite cold, like maybe like -15 Celsius, but not this
like
cold.
One night, 2 nights max.
Yeah.
When you have an extended period, it gets really scary. Also, like pipes can freeze.
Totally.
Always checking waters. At that point, we would probably bring the cows in here too.
Yeah.
Right now, they're going to be okay in their barn for the next few nights, and we've added a lot of amenities out there.
Yeah, extra bedding, extra food,
cleaning up constantly, so there's no poopy spots that they step in or whatever. And another thing we did this morning, what's happening here?
Whoa, this is wild.
Looks so different.
Yeah. So here we actually have been feeding Malcolm's herd inside in the stall barn. So normally they go outside, just kind of like around the corner from where that photo was taken. They have their big, beautiful concrete area, but it's still pretty cold. Well, obviously it's extremely cold. It's a little bit slippery out there as well. So just
things are freezing instantly.
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating.
And it was weird too, because I think on Saturday it kind of warmed up a little bit. And I think like whatever was there melted and then froze again. A lot of things that happened.
Was a big issue.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty mild one of the days. I remember seeing a lot of the icicles drip. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it was sunny, and it's sunny today, but it's very deceptive.
Extremely cold. Yes. So to give everyone a break from the cold and keep everyone safer, we've been feeding Malcolm's herd actually just inside this hallway in the barn. So it's funny, you can see like very clearly where the pigs normally have access and where they don't. Like
where the straw is.
Yeah, like where the floor is clean.
Where the gate is.
Yeah, so that's typically where that gate is. We just open the hallway up a little bit more just so they have some more room to eat. But I think they've really been enjoying that. We've really been enjoying that.
And this property, now we have that opportunity to feed all of the pig herds inside. So April's herd ate inside the arena this morning. Sammy's herd ate inside of the arena. Malcolm's herd ate inside of the stall barn. So that is absolutely amazing, because we couldn't have done that anywhere at the other property. Like maybe bowls down in the stalls, but that's still not super safe. They need a lot of space when they're eating.
Yes.
So that's been incredibly helpful.
Yeah, I never thought we'd be able to do that. I remember always kind of like joking or saying, like, I wish we could just feed them inside before, and now we can, which is pretty incredible.
All 3 herds.
Yeah. So that's been
amazing.
Helpful.
Link is in the comments. Thank you. You can donate toward our cold weather campaign to help us get through this polar vortex, get the residents through, keep them warm. Another thing we're doing, constant rounds during the day, night checks, making sure everybody's staying comfortable, protecting the vulnerable residents.
That's a lot of them
actually at this point. Yeah. The ones that are more susceptible to cold, like jackets on. Jeannie, who's elderly and doesn't handle the cold as well. Gilbert, who has CAE, which is a wasting disease, so he's a little bit thinner. He needs his coat on, which they both have their coats on.
Yes, they're very stylish.
Who else?
Jeannie's in her straw bed right now. She looks
she
like
got
a
bunch of straw
cloud
on her. She's like, this is amazing. And it just stayed there.
Yeah, so that's quite nice. Big, cozy straw beds for the pigs. Thankfully, we don't have any pigs on stall rest right now, which is great because they do rely on the body heat of their herd mates to help keep them warm. So that's been really, really nice as well, that Tammy's been, I think she's been kind of making her way in with April's herd and cuddling with them.
She's quite close. And there's a lot of extra straw. On Sunday, we made sure to, knowing that this was coming up, add a ton of straw to all the pig areas. So the pigs, Sammy's herd, in their huts, just packed full of straw, and they kind of just walk into it and they're pretty much buried. They all slept in the huts last night, and they all stayed in bed.
Yes, up
quite
a
long time. They're kind of just getting out of bed right now to eat breakfast, and they go back to bed because it's so cold.
Yes, we've been feeding extra as well.
Yes,
adding additional food for the meals, just to help keep them warm as well.
That really helps, and that's been for the pigs. And then for the cows, it's going to happen this afternoon.
Yes.
Nicole's going to explain why.
Yes. So once the cows are quite resilient to the cold, not to say that they're not affected by it, but because of their sheer size or very, very thick insulated winter coats, they tend to do pretty well out in the cold weather, and they're also very acclimated to it. And we see them all the time. It's freezing cold. There's a blizzard, and they're just standing outside, eating, relaxing, chewing their cud. So they tend to do pretty well, but it was a discussion that we had, should we be bringing them somewhere else? But their barn is very nice and cozy. Then we're also giving them extra food. So their hay feeders are stuffed, and then we're also offering some extra grass pellets and hay cubes this afternoon just to kind of help. Because I forget what the actual temperature was, but we looked it up.
We did research last night.
Yes, we did some research last night. Yeah, once it reaches a certain temperature, they basically need an additional amount of calories per animal to help like maintain their metabolism and to help keep them warm, basically. So they're getting lots.
And there's something about the timing that you're doing this afternoon.
Yes,
where they're rumen.
Peak rumen activity is about 6 hours after the meal, and that helps keep them warmer as well. So they're gonna have, I think Bailey's feeding them a lunch of grass pellets this afternoon, and they're gonna get a big heartier meal later in the afternoon. Yeah, in the past we have fed them grain to help keep them warm. We're kind of moving away from that, one because they don't really eat it anymore, so we don't want to upset their stomachs by adding in a large amount.
They're big boys.
They're big boys. And Denver, actually, he does have a history, and he's quite prone to hoof disease. And the grain can actually make that much worse, and we've been told.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, there's a very complicated relationship.
How that's related, like eating grain. How that affects the hooves.
Yeah.
Is that an inflammation thing with the sugars?
Yeah, exactly. I think
and also growth. Does the extra calories have something to do with growth? So it would get them to grow faster, which you don't want?
So that sounds kind of familiar.
One of the farriers said something like that.
Yeah, and I vividly remember one of the times when he had his hoofs trimmed at OVC, and they explicitly were like, do not ever give him grain. I was like, okay, got it. Yeah, so in the past we've done grain, but we're just doing things that are a bit safer for them right now. So
and they're getting free-fed hay. So
yes,
up until,
so much hay.
I think about a week ago, just anticipating this because we've known this has been coming, we've been free-feeding hay, and normally they get a weighed amount because they're on a bit of a diet. They're very efficient.
Yes.
At converting grass and hay into fat stores.
Yes.
So surprisingly.
Yes.
So yeah, they've been just having like free access, like just an abundance of hay to get them through this. And then I don't want to say it warms up, but it's less intense starting about Friday. So
things will get back a bit
change
more normal.
it after the weekend perhaps. We'll keep everybody posted. This is what today's looking like with the temperatures.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, minus 18 degrees Celsius. Feels like
negative 25.
Negative 25. And that's during the day.
Yeah.
So the night is going to be very different.
I think tomorrow is going to be maybe not quite as bad or pretty close to it as this morning. But
it looks like tomorrow during the day is not as bad, but the night's pretty cold still. So a few more cold nights to get through
it.
Bitterly cold.
It's
going to be cold for another few months because it's Canada.
Yep. That's okay. We were saying like we love to complain about the cold, especially now because it's so cold and so dangerous, but it's also good for nature, for the earth, for it to get this cold.
A bit concerning last winter when it was so mild. Like it does need deep freezes are beneficial for things like tick populations, and just nature in general. Probably a million reasons. But so now we're having kind of a normal winter, normal amount of snow, normal deep freezes. But again, if we had these type of temperatures for like a week straight or 2 weeks straight, there will be probably different things that we are doing. But this is the coldest it's been in many years. I don't remember the last time that it's been this cold.
I feel like one of my first, maybe like 5-ish years ago. I remember there was one winter early on when I first started when it was so cold, like it hurts your face. I think it was a polar vortex for about a week, but I think it still wasn't quite as cold as it is today. So
it's the type of day where if you're outside too long with any exposed skin, you're definitely going to get frostbite.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the residents that would be the most at risk for frostbite, I would say like the birds, like the cones.
For sure.
So it's really important that their areas stay warm, and we're kind of on that side of the barn. It's kind of tricky with electrical, so we can't turn up the heaters too high right now, but they're staying pretty warm. Dolly's house has a heated floor. Plus a heater. Nancy's coop has a heater. Duck coop has a heater. And then Nancy, because he's the most vulnerable because of his age and his arthritis, and also he has a lot of feather loss on his back, which if you point a thermal imaging camera at him, that's the spot that's just losing a ton of heat because there's no insulation from his feathers. Feathers are very insulating. So he's moved to a separate area to be separated from the birds because they were kind of bothering him. And to stay warm.
A nice little cozy spot, and it's like a pretty decent spot as well. He's been having a good time.
VIP, getting he got his osteopath treatment,
which was really nice. Kind of help with all the circulation, get the blood flowing. He was pretty warm and cozy after that. So
yeah, that's one thing we're focusing on. If you saw Barnside yesterday, he's having some issues with his feet. He's having quite just mobility wise in the last few years has declined. And circulation's a bit of an issue. He has atherosclerosis, which is a thickening of the plaque in the artery of the heart, or just arteries generally.
Yeah, I think so.
And that he's been diagnosed with that years ago. So that could be contributing to some circulation issues. We'll probably do some more laser on those toes, laser therapy. We've been doing Epsom salt soaks on his toes because it's also very calloused. The way he's wearing his, not wearing them, like pressure. The way he's walking puts pressure on the toes in a kind of a weird way that's not natural. Because he's missing a toe, he's missing a wing, he's got arthritis, he's kind of stiff.
Yeah, he's got a lot going on, especially with these, like, the older residents. We do find that they tend to kind of flare up and be a little bit more uncomfortable in the cold weather as well. Diablo is another one. He's been looking a little bit sore and stiff, so he also had a really wonderful osteopath treatment this morning. So, yeah, a lot of those older residents that have a lot going on are the ones that we're especially focused on to make sure that they're safe and comfortable going into these cold temperatures.
Yeah, it's the cold weather itself, and I feel like also, like, they're not out on pasture moving around and doing their normal activities. Like, they have the space, but it's just keeping everybody occupied and enriched in the winter is its own challenge for sure. The winter months. We always see a bit of an uptick in like bites and things with the pigs in
like February, March.
February, where they're like, okay, like
enough is enough. They're over
not
winter.
Been locked in, but there's just not a ton for them to do because in the summer they're out rooting, they're sunbathing. Their list of activities is so much larger, and then more space away from each other, and they start to feel a little bit cooped up at that point. So finding enrichment for them, keeping them busy, super important. We've changed their feed recently. So they increased the feed temporarily for the cold snap, but also we were noticing some vomiting. Do you want to talk about that?
So for years, our regular pig routine has been feeding the pigs. I think a lot of people have heard us talk about this a million times, that we would always start feeding them. We would start the day by feeding them at 7 a.m.
right away
because they'd always be up screaming. So we'd always feed them first, get it out of the way. And then it's also when we check out all the pigs, do our rounds, make sure everyone is acting normally. So we would feed breakfast at 7 a.m. and then usually dinner time around 3, sometimes lunchtime, sometimes a third meal of lunchtime, depending on the time of year. But since we moved, because there was so much room and so much pasture, they actually weren't up wanting breakfast at 7 a.m.
It was shocking. We were wondering, like, the day after they moved, they're like, okay, are they going to be up yelling for breakfast? They were out doing stuff.
Yeah, so we've kind of just been listening to them, basically, and they seem to start getting hungry around kind of like 9, 10, even 11 o'clock. So we've kind of adjusted the feed times accordingly. But since the weather started to get colder, so kind of towards the end of November, early December, we've actually seen an increase in the pigs vomiting. And that's something that occasionally we would see here and there if someone was, especially active during a meal, got chased away from a bowl, just a lot of activity.
Like a one-off is not too concerning.
Yeah, exactly. Once in a while we would deal with it, but we kind of started to see, I think it was Raymond who was
the first
it was Ray.
I remember that morning.
Yeah, it was Ray who was first, and I forget who was next, but it was enough that there was a couple within like a month and a half period. So we were kind of taking a look and being like, okay, what's changing? So kind of the first things that we thought is the biggest variable is that their meal times have changed a lot. So basically there's a bigger time between their dinner, which is around 3 o'clock, to their breakfast, which normally was 7 a.m., but now has been pushed to 10 or 11. Yeah, so basically, we kind of like suspected this, but we discussed it with our vets as well. And we're suspecting that that increased time of their stomachs being empty has actually increased the acidity of their stomachs, because we were noticing that they were always throwing up before breakfast.
Which is really weird.
Yeah.
Like throwing up after a meal, maybe they ate too fast.
Exactly. That was kind of the big thing, is that they were always throwing up before breakfast on an empty stomach. It was always between like 8:30, 10:30 a.m.
You'd be finishing up meds, and you're like, I could hear
smell it.
Yeah, you could hear it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so because that was also like kind of like late November, early December, because we did have an unseasonably
and that's probably around the time when
pasture started to go off.
Yeah, because pasture, like, they would be eating throughout the day, so they'd always have a bit in their stomach.
Yeah, but that's kind of when it started to get proper cold, proper winter, and then, once it started getting really cold in January, we kind of saw an increase that I think last week it was 2 pigs in one day. And that's when we were like, oh my gosh, we need to do something about this.
Call the vet.
Yes, exactly. And it was kind of on our radar, but since then we've adjusted the feed time, so we've increased or pushed breakfast a little bit earlier. Not 7 a.m., which has been nice.
Yes. Not having to start the day by running around feeding the pigs is delightful.
Yes.
So they have opportunities to do other things, medications, check on everyone else.
Yes.
It's nice. So we're hoping they keep that same schedule.
Yes. So we pushed that forward a little bit, and then dinner later a little bit. So that's been going well. So fingers crossed.
We haven't had any instances since we've made that change.
So hopefully it stays that way.
That's the update with the pig feed. If you're just tuning in, welcome. Gail, welcome. We're just chatting about kind of everything.
Yeah,
a little mix of things. Obama update we did earlier, so if you didn't miss that, you can watch on replay after. And just kind of the cold weather and how this polar vortex is affecting us, affecting our workflow, affecting the residents. We do have a fundraiser right now going on for the cold weather. If you're able to donate to that, it's on our website. You can click on the link in the comments. Thank you for everyone who has donated.
Yes,
we had a few comments for people who have donated, so that's amazing.
Yes,
it's a tricky
so much.
Time of the year, and sometimes things like this are very unexpected.
Yeah,
for sure. We don't know what to expect from a winter sometimes.
Yeah.
This is what we're kind of in the middle of. Lots of checks, night checks, day checks.
Yes, lots of bedding, lots of food. Yes. We're getting through it. Yes. Thank you everyone for your support.
That's why we're in here in the break room staying warm.
Yes, taking a break before going back out into the world.
I feel like this is a space we could also utilize, like if Nancy wasn't doing super well.
Totally, yeah. I mean, we have. Yeah, we have put them in here for
we
the
could
days
easily
before.
set up. The cats, I can see them.
Oh yeah, they're sleeping
on their drying rack.
Yeah. They're living it up.
In front, like it's already really warm in this room, but they're in front of the heater as well. Just like that's all they've been doing. So Claudia and Enrique are passed out kind of close together.
Yeah, actually, her face was like almost on his bum.
Yeah.
It's quite cute. I was like, oh my.
They tolerate, I mean, she tolerates him. He doesn't have any preference for anything.
Yeah. Not a lot going on up there.
No, he doesn't really think about things. But she's kind of, I think she kind of sees him as like an annoying little brother.
100%.
So
yeah, he's a little bit of a
That's
pest.
kind of their relationship. So to see them like not snuggling, but like laying that close is the first time ever since he arrived. I think this coming May might be 3 years.
I was going to say that sounds right.
So if you didn't know, Enrique is a resident that just walked in.
Never
he
left.
Rescued himself and he never left. We did all his vetting. He was unneutered at that time. Remember his big cheeks?
Yeah.
Looked very different.
Yeah.
So he rescued himself. He walked in and he's been here ever since, sleeping.
Yep. Mostly just sleeping and eating.
Sleeping and just messing us around. Sometimes he bites us. Sometimes that's fine.
Classic. I see Mary's from Northern California. Oh. Beautiful weather there.
Wow.
Oh, amazing.
And Gail's saying it's unbelievably cold here in Long Island too. 11 degrees, which is minus 11 Celsius. That's quite cold, and I'm sure there's some kind of wind chill on that as well. Oh, it's always like the temperature, but then feels like, so right now it's, I mean, this morning was 18. It's warmed up a little bit with the sun.
Warmed.
The cows were actually, when I went to check on the cows, they were lined up against their barn facing,
that's cute.
like they're like solar panels, like facing south. and lined up exactly in the way to get the most sun absorption. So
That's
they were
really
warming
cute.
up.
You know what?
in the
Actually, Brindle was sunbathing for a couple minutes this morning. I was extremely confused. I was like, "You okay, buddy?" But he was having a really good time when the osteopath was here this morning. She was working on Hercules, and Brindle came over to kind of say hi. And then he very slowly he just woke up from a nap, so he was like a little bit dozed. But then he just went outside and just stood out in the sun because where their hallway is to go from the stall barn to the arena, the sun was just beating down like right in that corner, and he was just standing there soaking it up. It was like, that's incredible. Yeah.
That actually reminds me that Pixie was doing that yesterday. So if you go and watch Barnside Chat, at the end of it, we opened all the Amazon boxes, which were like 90% fig Newtons.
Oh yeah.
The best day ever. And we're doing it in front of all the goats and sheep, which we didn't plan, but so we ended up feeding them. And we look over at one point, and Pixie, I was like, why is she standing still? She's just like staring off into space. And she was just in this little, it was
that
only
one
her
spot through the door, like where the sun.
Nobody else was around. It was just like this little sunbeam with little Pixie, and she was just like neat and totally like frozen in time.
That's really
sunbathing.
Cute.
It was really adorable because I didn't even know what was happening. I look over and I was like, oh, she's so cute. Oh, that's so true. I forgot about that too. Well, I didn't forget. I just haven't thought about it recently.
Yeah.
So around the time that Bobby had passed around, we started to see Enrique.
Yeah.
We started to see him, I think, the beginning of May-ish that year that he arrived. And we realized after we started seeing him that he was living under the duck coop.
Oh, yeah. Some good Enrique lore.
Secretly, which I found out on the camera. So I was kind of like, what's happening? Like, you know, because the first time I saw him, he kind of crawled out of the forest. But he was actually spending, not full-time, I don't think, but he was under there watching us, I think, for about a week to kind of assess.
Scoping it out, right?
So I think he was kind of like, okay, I think I want this to be my home. I'm just going to like check it out. And he obviously got good vibes.
Yep. Took him a while to commit, but
then when he did walk out, he's just like, this is me.
Yep.
I remember when he came up to me and I was like, oh, amazing. I love cats, but also like, I don't know who you are.
Yeah. Who is this person?
I don't know your vaccination status.
Yes. But okay, cool.
Yeah, and then that was it. And then he was quite unhealthy when we first started like getting to know him, and once he started staying full time, I remember him going to the vet a million times. We tested him for
everything.
I think FIV at least twice. Because he was so sick.
Leukemia.
Now he's better than ever.
Yeah.
Full of snacks, sleeping.
Yep, living the dream.
He's adorable. Oh, I hope you saw that yesterday. It was really cute. If you didn't see it, go watch Barnside Chat. It was pretty good. Me and Chris chatting about resident updates, chatting about the colds, chatting about Pixie, and feeding out a lot of Fig Newtons.
Amazing.
We somehow got in with the tripod and Fig Newtons without letting Pixie out.
That's
got into Obama.
Zoe didn't knock anything over. I feel like she's been really into
I have a lot of bruises on my legs from her horns, but we made it. It was worth it.
Amazing.
It was so worth it. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Mary, B, Sylvia. Aw. Layla's been sleeping all day too.
She knows what's up.
It's like hibernation time. I feel like we kind of joke about it, but the pigs kind of hibernate. Yeah. Not officially. Like, you think of hibernation, this isn't even true, but like a bear going into a cave and sleeping for 3 months, which they don't actually do. But yeah, it's like, it's that time.
Yeah, I mean,
it slows down
for us too. Like every time we're kind of like, oh, I'm tired or my head hurts. Like, well, we should be hibernating right now. It's unnatural.
Yeah. The days are getting longer. We noticed last night was quite a special. I think when they start getting longer after December 21st, it takes a few days and you get an extra minute. You don't really notice. Yeah. But it was last night. I both really here at like 20 after 5, and we're like, wait, I think we have at least another 20 minutes of sun.
Yeah, it was pretty major because I was so used to driving home in the dark, and now I have like, it's not 100% dark yet, so it's getting there.
Not pitch black.
Yes, spring will be here soon. It will get warmer. We will get through the polar vortex.
The good things about winter, I mean, it's hard to sometimes think of the good things when, you know, you're faced with all of the challenges, but every season has its challenge.
For sure.
Spring, mud.
Yeah.
Mud is one of my least favorite things to deal with.
Completely
like,
agreed.
snow's one thing, but mud with the residents, especially hooved residents.
Yeah, which is most of them.
Yeah, like how many pairs of hooved feet do we have on the property?
Yeah, that's a good stat.
Yeah. Calculate. It's tough. Yeah. So mud, summer heat can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
And bugs.
Yeah.
whether it's like annoying bugs or bugs that can be transmitting
Harmful.
disease, like ticks.
Yeah.
Every season. I think this season that has the least challenges is my favorite, and it's the best season is fall.
Completely agree.
We're both
We're
September.
Virgos.
Any Virgos in the comments?
Yeah,
Everybody's like,
yeah.
yeah. Best season also. The
Completely
least
agree.
problematic.
Yeah.
It's
Totally.
a great season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice
we got lucky
weather.
with this last fall. It was quite dry.
Yeah.
And that was when we were moving, so we didn't have any mud issues.
Yeah.
I mean, lack of rain is its own thing. But
right.
yeah, it was quite nice. Quite I was gonna say temperamental. That makes sense.
Temperate.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is. I like making. I always have at least one word I make up on these programs. Jennifer, thank you for tuning in. We're just going over some updates, mostly about the weather, but also just chatting with everybody. We're here in the break room.
Stay warm.
10-year banner.
Oh,
Sanctuary just turned 10 years old, and we've been filming some videos in here. I haven't done mine yet. I'm gonna do mine with Nancy.
Oh yeah, I should do mine too. Good reminder.
I brought him in, but then I got shy because there were people in here having a break, and I didn't want to film in front of them.
Oh, fair enough.
It's funny because I do these all the time, but yes. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for everybody who's donated to our fundraiser. Again, the link is in the comments. If you're able to donate a little bit, get us through this polar vortex. Get us a bit more straw. I'm looking at a huge pile of it right there. So hopefully that lasts us through the winter. That's always the challenge with different resources that we need. But that's the plan. Yes. Keep everybody warm.
Warm, cozy, and safe.
Keep ourselves warm.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.
See you again next time. Bye.